Hello, everybody. I'm not Charles Kahn. Charles Kahn is asleep because it's really early. And it's really early because I have a special guest today, and it's Tommy C. from Shopping Point.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Well, it's like afternoon for you, right?
Yeah, it's 13:30, 1:30, 1:13.
It's 1:30.
1:13.
Yeah, you can do military time with me. If other people don't get it, they can look it up because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
For me, it's like 4 a.m.
I was a security guard for a little bit before I went in the military, so I had it down. It wasn't too much of a problem for me. And I know most of the guys there they were already kind of into being soldiers before they were old enough to be soldiers, so they all knew it too. It wasn't that difficult.
They were all like studying beforehand, so they thought they can impress people.
I was always really surprised. My story is a little more tragic. I broke up with my fiance. I lost my killer friggin' job. I was an internet tech, but everything was switching over to everything's becoming sort of consolidated with the cable company. So I was with AT&T, and then they ended up losing their thing. So it put me out of work. And what ended up happening was I was at a bar, probably never more depressed. And I saw that guy Pat Tillman get killed, the football player. You know, the guy that had everything going for his NFL All-Star. And I'm like, and I was very much I would end up supporting the troops, but I was very much for the Iraq and Afghanistan war at the time. And I'm like, here I am drinking. I'm young. This guy risked everything, and he had I had nothing to lose. This guy said everything to lose, and that's what actually got me in, which turned out to be a really great thing.
Yeah, how old were you?
28. I joined late. I was older. So getting back to my other story, 27 actually. Excuse me, 27. So yeah, I was the old man in basic, and I met these kids, and I need the way I saw the Army is like, you help me, I'll help you, right? I'll give me my best, you give me your best, but what I got was I really think it picks you. You don't pick it, because I'll never forget this recruiter coming into AIT, which is like our college. It's like after basic training, you go to college for whatever job you are. It's AIT. For Vega, it would have been getting down and dirty. For me, it was going to a classroom. And the schoolhouse master had just gotten off recruitment duty, and he gives us the whole lecture and what he expects and blah, blah, blah. And then he walks out the door, he comes back and he says, listen, off the record, everybody sit down. Off the record, I just got off recruitment duty, all right? How many of you responded to a mail, call, email, school, being reproached in school, and how many of you just walked in the door to the recruitment office? So, I don't know, the entire classroom raised their hand for just walking in the door, including myself.
Wow.
So it was like, what it showed me, and you should have saw the recruiter. He was like, God damn. So I think it's something that's sort of pre-decided. It's like, it's in you. If you don't have it in you, you probably shouldn't,
I think that's the same thing with nursing, honestly. And that's how I, military time. It's like, I think that took me a while because they try to pound it in your brain at school. And now I don't set my time on my computer or my phone any other way. That's how I know time now.
Do you ever think because certain occupations have certain personalities, do you ever think that, sort of there's always slightly more females than males to keep the thing going? Do you ever think that genetically, our species makes certain personality types to fill certain roles? So
I do. I do
too. I don't know what that's called.
I think there's a lot of not that there aren't good male nurses, and there's more and more male nurses in the profession, but we got that nurturing thing.
Yeah,
women got that nurturing thing
more so than men. Wavy was a nurse. He was a damn good one.
We actually he TM'd me the other day about what was going on Fish Tank, and somebody's injured, so we were trying to take bets on what it was. We're like, it's gallbladder.
Oh, really? Oh, you really?
Or it's a fractured rib, and I'm like, well, he's holding it a little high. So
you're talking shop with Wavy.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny when I still talk Army offline somewhat, and you can tell it drives Dead on Dave kind of nuts at first, but once I say something, then it gets like we haven't left after a few minutes.
That's the
he
way
tries
that
to
it
forget
is.
it a little bit, but if I say this, that, or tell a story, and then it's like, yeah, well, that happened and this happened. Well, you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to, yeah, and it gets to because
it never stops. That's like people
Yeah.
that I know that have gone out of nursing completely. Like they say it's like the mafia. Like you can be out, but you're never truly out.
Yeah.
You're always in.
Well, there's something military about being a nurse too. I mean, I knew a lot of, you guys probably could make the transition pretty well.
It's the you get up early and you just gotta roll with every punch that happens during the day. Like you don't have time to sit there and think about it or bitch about it. You just gotta do
You
it.
just do it. Yeah, I've been in that situation. Mostly when I was downrange, but you're working in what's called the 16-hour days. Even if you're not fighting, you're up.
Yeah.
If you're not in the fight, you're working. It basically
and then you just do it, and then you just get it fucking over with.
Yeah, you don't got time. You don't got time to bullshit.
It's like
you don't got time to worry about it. And
yeah.
the guys that complain are the guys that kind of crack.
Those are the ones that never make it. Like, because there are people that they go through school and then they actually do get their license, and then they just don't really do anything, or they go find something bullshitty to do. Like they're not there working. They're not there working in the hospital. They can't do it. People cannot hang. Even if what's funny? The people in school that were always, as far as like on the theory side, that always did the best on theory, always sucked like clinically. When it was time to do clinical, they were always the most afraid. They were always the slowest. They couldn't hang clinically.
Yeah, so that's probably the personality type taken. If we're right about the personality types, then they're the wrong personality type in that job. Yeah. That's probably what doesn't work. So you either got to learn not to bitch and control it, but some people can't. Some people, that's their stress relief. But that's not a good environment. Any kind of emergency environment is not the place for bitching.
Yeah. Oh, and anything that's just they can't handle. Because you don't. Everything's just going to get thrown at you. You don't have time to think. It's like you're not going to go into work and have a normal day by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
And everything's going to go to shit before you even know it, and you don't have time to think about when they go to shit. You just have to do.
Let me ask you something. Did full moons have crazier nights, or
they do?
They do.
Yeah,
there's got to be something
they do.
To that. Cops say it. Everybody says it.
It's the gravitational pull thing.
Yeah.
That just fucks everything up. And then there's like saying the word quiet, like you can't say the Q word. Somebody walks in and goes, sure it's quiet around here.
Oh, like, yeah, I know that one too. That's universal, I think. Yeah.
Shut up. Everything up. Now it's not going to stay. Now my patient in 3 is going to crash.
Do you miss it?
Now I'm.
Do you miss it?
Well, see,
your life's very different now, I imagine. Yeah.
I got out right before pandemic, but I still work. I still work full time.
Yeah, Mudar said you were out the other day. That's right. When I was talking about
I work in a completely different part. Like I sold out and I went to aesthetics.
Do something. Is that selling out, or is that just taking a desk job? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that eventually.
I mean, it's not desk. It's very much hands on. I
meant it in a metaphorical military way. Yeah. I didn't
definitely.
mean it like literally.
It's very much. It's not ICU. And there's a lot of times where I do miss it, but the problem with sometimes it's the burnout from being understaffed. That just after a while it's like, okay, I'm tired of working 16, sometimes 24-hour shifts because we don't have anybody. Because even though after you're 12, you're free to go home. You get that pressure. Like, hey, we don't have. Can you stay for an extra 4 hours? And when you really fucking don't want to, it's like, you know what? I've done my shit. I've had a hell of a day. It's on certain. If you're working at a good hospital, and you have a good staff around you, you don't want to fucking leave them hanging. Because it's like, God, if I don't stay, they're only going to have like 5. Definitely. I like to.
Well, here's another thing, too. I mean, with me, some days are actual work and some days, and they're few and far between. I get a lot of downtime for working out of my arcade, so to speak. Like yesterday was like a normal work day. I got up, clocked in. Today's kind of like that too. But tomorrow might be I'm taking more care of my kid than I'm making content or something
But that's
like that.
the dream.
Or planning and
That's
stuff.
the dream.
Well, yeah, sure. But here's the thing. I was pretty skinny, and now I'm pushing I'm like 200 and like 70 pounds. So
It's being at home.
that if I was working, I guarantee it wouldn't be like.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Oh, you really?
Mhm.
I'm
big
never
boy.
picked.
Nobody believes me either until they meet me in
I
person. It's
literally
so
never
bizarre.
pictured you that tall. That's so
I'm a
weird.
big boy. I'm pretty big boy. I mean, just slightly above average, but I'm always really shocked. Maybe because like they think you know you from like a camera shot.
They have no idea.
Whenever I went to London, I can't wait to see how short Tommy really is. I'm not. See, you know what it is? I think if you're below 6 feet, there's always kind of a little about it if you're a dude.
The stigma, the ick. We get the ick.
I've been 6 feet since I was 15. So
damn.
Yeah.
No back problems, no scoliosis from that extra growth spurt.
No, but Tommy's bigger than I was. So
really,
yeah.
How old is he now?
7. He'll be 8 in a week or so. Yeah.
Oh, and how tall is he already?
I can't say because it's in centimeter in the metric system and what have you.
How far does he come up to you?
I'll give you this. I'll give you. Jesus, below shoulder.
Holy shit.
He is in the 90th percentile of height. So only 10% of kids his age group in Germany are taller than he is.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, I've put pictures on the net. He's a head taller.
How tall is your wife?
She's pretty tall. She's
There you go.
She's 5'9", 5'8", something like that. She's pretty tall.
Okay, yeah. So she's tall. She's tall for a chick.
Well, German girls tend to be taller. I noticed.
Yeah.
The German men are tall on average because, like, I remember in the Bundeswehr, we trained with those guys. Most of them were bigger than me. I was one of the shortest guys on my soccer team over here.
No
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they're big
yeah,
boys.
you do. You don't know how tall people are on the internet until you meet them, and then
Yeah,
you're just like. That was like one of the very first things I noticed about Mudar. I was like, oh, damn, he's tall. I didn't realize he was that tall.
I always thought Mudar was bigger than I was. I figured he was 6'2", 6'3".
He's 6'3".
Yeah, I knew it. So I hit on the CA. I bet I could see it because I'm taller. I figured he was a lot bigger than I was. Yeah.
And then you got Gamer from Mars who's 6'4".
No.
Yes.
I got to get him for an interview because I got him for an interview. And you know how I like to hit up the kids about their love life and stuff. But I hit him. I was like, this is before he was lifting weights, before he looks like he does when he was super duper geeky. I was like, you've been a YouTuber a long time, so you must be getting a lot of pussy, huh? And you should see, he just turned bright red. It was so funny. It's one of the favorite moments in the show's history.
Proper. Like he's a really proper.
One of my favorite moments, hands down.
Guy.
Good. And I tell you something, one of the more decent, and boy, listen to him. He knows his stuff. One of the things that shocked me is he said he's
so business savvy, so fucking business savvy.
Yeah, he's a smart kid, and he has the. I almost think that awkward trait, and he seems to be losing it with the. Well, I've never been as jacked as he is, even in my best shape.
He's very lean too. Just like he's got like that whole like lean muscle, but then like
he's a great YouTuber. He really is, and
he's
one of the more decent guys I've dealt with. I say this before. I don't know if you watch my show ever, but I'm not a huge fan of YouTubers, and most of them I met, I could say within 80th, 90th percentile are trash. They're just not good people. They're not good people.
You're not wrong.
Obviously, Mudar's been never. Mudar approached me. He just kind of popped in the show one day.
I remember that. Yeah, that was like
the Cloud
after...
Capital. And he uses that. He uses that. I'm so like, I coined that. There's no doubt about it.
I remember because when I was actually listening to the interview that's getting ready to release this weekend with the Mamamax call, he says that in the call. And
Cloud Capital, I was so happy.
And I remember I was like, that was a thing from your show, like from I don't know, like 3-4 years ago.
You gotta, like, for me, like if when Muda came in, and I was like, well, that's kind of a big deal. You know, I mean, that's yeah. I mean, this is because my like to show off to my son. I say that the guy who screams because he watches YouTube Kids and Mood is all over YouTube Kids.
The
I don't know if you know
laughing
that.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you laughing guy,
He's the
and
laughing guy.
I always wanted to get Mood on Discord call and just like I always wanted to get a really because with my daughter, her YouTube stars are so big I couldn't touch them or get near them. The closest I got was I forget which. She's the Hispanic girl, real nice voice. Nerd City made a ridiculous video on her years ago. I can't remember her name.
Are you talking about what the
Clown Talk to her? Clown Talk. I can't remember.
And she got all horny over him. I remember. I can't remember it. Lele Pons.
Lele Pons. Yeah,
Yeah.
So I did this thing where, hey, do you want to talk to the guy who talked to Lele Pons? It was so funny. But with Tommy, it's like yeah, my dad's sort of connected. Because now he's total gamer, total YouTube's kids taker inner as far as yeah. So he knows.
He's on the cusp of realizing just how
well, he doesn't know
cool that is.
He doesn't know. He knows I have a really weird job. I think he's just starting to grasp, but like it's just completely out of the realm of possibility that I could do that. I'm not like other dads for sure.
Yeah.
Other than the whole soccer thing and get out there, give it 100%. Doing that whole dad thing. I'm not like other dads, so.
Were you into soccer before you moved out there, or was that just like an acquired thing?
I got really into it when I moved here, obviously. But yeah. I did have some touches when I was more into hockey. I did have some sort of brushes with it. I went to one of the first MLS games in Giant Stadium with the then Metro Stars, now the Red Bull, and I tried to give that a go. The World Cup in '94 was a big deal.
Oh shit!
Yeah, because we had Ireland versus Italy in New Jersey, which was off the meat hook.
Italy.
Off the meat hook. Because literally, forget all the Italians and the Irish that were flying in, to go see the game. You had New Jersey and New York Italians and Irish in that stadium, and they didn't.
It was a sausage fest.
Yeah, it was. There's a little tension there, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. Because there used to be a thing. I think turn of the century. Maybe my grandfather was a kid. That the Irish and Italians. There was probably racial problems there at some point, but that not when I was growing up.
I think there was
that during that game you could kind of feel it. Like you had people that looked like me and the people that had olive skin, and there was a tension there. It was really weird. I never felt it before or since.
The only family that I have that's not pretty much originally from California is Boston, and it's the Irish part.
Well, Boston is Irish as hell.
Yeah.
But don't undercut New York and New Jersey. There's more people of Irish descent in New Jersey than there is in Ireland.
Really?
In Ireland,
you know what's so funny? I was shocked, how nice people are over there.
Yeah.
New York and New Jersey.
I got to be honest with you. Irish Americans, I think, live up to the stereotype more than the Irish do. The sort of the fighting, swinging, drunken Patty.
Absolutely.
Angry. One of the things that I noticed about the Irish is they're not angry. Irish Americans are angry. I'm angry as hell. And most of the guys I grew up with were angry as hell. Yeah.
I have because I have Irish, Italian.
The Jersey we used to call it Jersey mix.
Yeah, and then some German, and I think there's Norwegian in there somewhere. I'm like a Euro.
See, I would have put my hand on Northern Europe with you. Well, over Norwegian, Sweden, stuff like that. I think that's where you got most of your traits.
Yeah, and it's because that's my mom's side, but she has the Italian on her side too.
Yeah, I can see the Italian too, actually. Yeah, but you're very fair. You're very fair though as well. But
I tan good.
Northern Italian girls
really
tend to be really fair, because they're right in the German border, so they tend to be kind of blondie.
He was when I met Mudar, he goes, I only knew you were from California because you weren't East Coast pale.
What is East Coast pale?
I don't know. He pointed it out once when we were actually.
Well, yeah. Oh no, it makes sense. Like there's less sun. There's less sun.
Yeah, he was like, "See, that's what I mean by New York pale," because I didn't get it because I'm just like, because that's what I said. I'm like, "What's?"
Well, I'm pretty pale too. So,
it's like there is like the differences between like East Coast and West Coast people. Like,
oh, for sure.
insanely different, but in the way. But I was
North Cal and SoCal culturally is. I lived in San Francisco for a little while.
Different.
North Cal
totally
and
different.
SoCal is completely different culture too. So
we don't even consider each other like the same. Like as far as I'm concerned, like Northern California people, it's not even fucking Californian to me. It's completely.
I think that's more my speed. Is North Cal. I think that
really?
Because I don't know, the SoCal guys are so phony.
Well, it depends on which part, because it's like, because I'm from Orange County, and when people say Orange County is LA, yeah. And when people say like Orange County is like, oh, you're from LA, like don't fucking tell me I'm from LA, because that is completely different.
Yeah, well, that's like, that's probably like New Jersey is to New York City.
Yeah, so it's like if that's exactly like if you called like a New Yorker like, oh, Jersey, same, absolutely not. Completely.
Well, New
different.
Jerseyans don't mind being called New Yorkers, but New Yorkers don't like when
exactly.
When
like I don't think a lot of people
they don't like when they say they're they don't like. I'll never forget. I watched a wrestling event, and Taz, who was from Red Hook, Brooklyn, was in a thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He goes, "Where are you from? New Jersey?" And like that's like the biggest insult you could levy at a New York, at a Brooklyn New Yorker.
Like watching people talk with their hands over there, like in both like New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, I probably do too.
I just sat there. I just kind of sat there with my jaw open like the whole time, because it's culture shock, because I had never been until like a few months ago. Well, at least to like the city, and I turned around, I looked at Mudar, and I was like, people talk with their hands so much here.
The Italians have had a huge influence, and there's a lot of Hispanics too, and they tend to talk with Latin people talk with their hands. I've been to Spain. I grew up with a lot of Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, people from all over, also to South Americans, and tons of Italians where I grew up, and they all talk with their hands, and I think it rubbed off on me as well.
It's just the extremely regional things.
Yeah, the Italians, I think they rubbed off on everybody. They are the personality of New York.
There's a stereotype.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of personality, and that they really had an effect on the culture over there. A huge effect.
It's like Valley Girls here.
Yeah,
like
probably.
everybody tells me I have an accent. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're
I
talking about.
I didn't notice these. I couldn't have put my finger. California's always been difficult for me for accents. I can't really put my finger on it. No.
See, I don't think I have an accent, so
maybe don't.
I'm okay. I don't think I have an accent. It's not like it's not like Canadian.
At least you're not English.
So
the English, you can tell so much about somebody from England just by their accent, their class, where they went to school.
Can you tell like which area
I
they're
can't
from?
do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
You can tell how much money they make a year.
Clown.
There's still a sort of.
You can tell clown's background.
Yes, immediately. There still is sort of. It's not like obviously enforced, but there still is a class system over there of sorts, and it really affects the way you talk to this day. I think it's a hangover from the Middle Ages. I do. No, I'm not even joking. Like you can tell exactly how much money. Yeah.
It's crazy because it's probably true. It's more than likely true.
There is.
It's probably like the same thing as some New Yorkers too. Is that true for some New Yorkers? Or like depending on
no, I can't tell how much you make, but I can definitely tell where you're from. I definitely can tell where you're from. But I don't know about like you could be loaded from Brooklyn and have a Brooklyn accent. Actually,
I could tell by the way you dress.
I tell you what, I could tell a fake New Yorker, somebody that moved there, like a hipster or something. I could figure them out like immediately.
Because you could tell like which part they're from, if they're from like Queens or Brooklyn.
Yes. Yeah, I could tell. And Long Island too.
Long Island.
Especially women. It's a little easier for me to pick out the Long Island than it is.
See, that's the thing. Like all of Southern California, I could tell where you're from, like by the way that you dress, by the way that you have your nails, by the way you have your hair.
I knew Nick was from Long Island the moment I heard him.
Oh, is that where he's from?
Oh,
I didn't even know where he was from.
I knew he's immediately. I knew it. Well, I'm not really far. Like I'm.
The accent.
I grew up by the Outer Bridge Crossing, which is.
Well, everything is so close. Like everything is so goddamn.
It's close, but it's far. But it'd probably take me an hour and a half to get to Nick's. But if there was no traffic, it'd probably take me 30 minutes.
Well, see, that's the thing. I was talking to because we didn't know, like, where should we go? Where should we eat? So I hit up Wang. I was like, hey, where do we eat?
Everybody gets up Wang with their Manhattan. It's amazing.
I'm just like, I was like, where do we go? Like, what do we do? And he was like, well, you might want to go here, but you have to remember, like, getting over there, it's not going to be the same as like when you're home in California. And I'm like, and I didn't realize that. And taking an Uber in New York City was the scariest fucking thing I've ever done.
Really?
It was fucking terrifying.
It is. Well, I do remember my German.
Like relatives. I'm walking here. I understand. I'm walking here now.
Yeah, you got to move. You got to get to where you're going because
they're just gonna keep fucking going.
And I found that out when I worked in Manhattan. Like if you lollygag and start looking around, you'll be late. So you got to move.
Yeah.
People
just they don't care. It's like, okay, there's oncoming traffic. I don't give a fuck. I'm crossing the street. Fuck you.
Well, no, I noticed that when I lived in San Francisco, you put your foot in the corner, people stop.
It's changed so much.
Oh, really?
It's changed so much since you've been there.
Like
when they talk about.
Well, I haven't been there since '98. I think it was 20.
Changed. Yeah. It's changed since the last time I was there in like.
Oh, really?
2013. It's homeless. It's just so homeless ridden now. Like,
well, it was in '93 when I was there the first time, and it cleaned up by '96 when I was there the second time. So I was 19 going on 20. It cleaned, and now from what I heard, the last 5 years, it's just a straight shithole again.
It's just you can't like. There's no point to even going. I used to love it. I used to love just going up there for like a few days. Like I can't handle too much of it because I get to like, okay, I'm done. But for the most part, like I don't even want to go there anymore. It's pretty sad.
It's sad. I got to be honest. I feel the same way. I'm kind of European adjusted. I don't want to put up with any of the bullshit back home. I'll never forget when I went back home. Well, this is be awful because your husband's Muslim, but it happened. All right, and so. I'm just home from Iraq. I'm driving a car, which is a surreal experience when you've been over there. I'm back home, and this Muslim family. It was two sisters. I'm assuming, maybe or a mother and a daughter. They must have gotten a fight because one of them got out of the car and crossed her arms. You know, women do that every so often, and like it's in the middle of traffic. She's, I'm not riding with you. I'm not doing anything. And somebody. It stopped traffic. Somebody lead out. Blow yourself up already. Come on.
Oh, okay, that's funny though.
I was like, oh God, that woke me up. I'm really back home. You know.
No, he did. I do stuff like that with him. Like one time we couldn't. I can't remember where we were at. We rented this car. It was a Tesla, and for some reason, like the fucking key. Like you're supposed to stick it next to a part on the door, and the door's just supposed to open.
But
this one wouldn't fucking work, and he kept like switching it, like over one side to another. And there's like a certain place that you have to touch, and I've kept telling him, I'm like, it's got that sensitive spot. You can't fucking like drive a plane into it and then expect it to do what you want it to do.
You said that to him? What's the matter with you? Oh my God, it's terrible. I wouldn't have even said that.
I was like, Christ. No, you can't do that.
Jesus. Is he religious? Is he a religious guy?
I mean, by like, he grew up Muslim, yeah.
No, but he I grew up Catholic.
He will not eat during like Ramadan.
Oh, okay. So, he still has some connection to it.
Like he's been doing, well, yeah, I mean, he goes to mosque every Friday.
Does he really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
I kind of figured he was more like me. That he was like kind of like I'm proud of my roots. I don't hate religion, but I opted out. You know what I mean? But I think like we all have it's a part of the culture. It's part of my history.
If you grew up Catholic,
Yeah.
you're always Catholic.
Yeah, kind
You
of.
know,
Jewish,
yeah.
same thing. You know, like I have concern for Catholic.
Every once in a while you might go to like a Christmas Eve mass, but that's like
Yeah, something like that.
that's the extent of it.
Well, I mean,
know?
even to the extent of like if I hear about like Catholics getting oppressed or something like that somewhere around the world, if I see that article, I'll read it. You know, I'll
Yeah,
see
those
it
are my
through
people.
with that as some kind of it's kind of my people. You know, you can't do that. You know,
like what's going on?
What's going on there? Not that everybody doesn't go through that, because they certainly do. But yeah, like that's where I'm at with that. Yeah.
No, we bust each other's balls about like like the typical white people jokes. It's like, oh, you're using seasoning when you cook.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like he'll rip me about something, I'll rip him about something.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think that's
I honestly think that's healthy. To be honest with you.
It is.
Some people would like be horrified by me even thinking.
Oh, people would be horrified by the shit that we say to each other sometimes. Like, but we have this thing where there's like the too far button.
Yeah.
And we don't push that one. There's a couple things that you just don't push.
No, the thing, and it's not even the too far button. It's like if you're legitimately angry and then you say something you would normally say when you're fucking around, and that's when it's like I would never call my wife a Nazi ever.
Oh, see,
ever,
but that is.
But I have called a few ex-girlfriends that weren't German.
Because that one's actually really deep. But see, the thing about it is that I wouldn't make jokes like that if he didn't make them kind of himself.
Yeah,
because he does make those ones, and I do make like kind of like the basic bitch white girl bullshit.
I honestly, I do think at some level that's healthy because everybody knows where everybody stands. And obviously, it's not kind of rooted in any kind of hatred or anything like that. It's just it's bull busting, you know. And
that's all it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is. And I'm probably a little bit more into that because I'm like,
I've seen your Twitter account. I know you're into bull busting.
Yeah, I'm like like I'm a little bit more mean by nature, and I don't know if it's like the Canadian in him that he's just not.
Yeah, I think that's probably. He has a Canadian temperament, for sure.
He has. It takes a lot for him to get mad. Mm-hmm. But
I grew up next to a little India as well in Island, New Jersey, and the Indians in general. I mean, he's Pakistani, right? But the Indians, Pakistanis, like they don't get worked up, and they don't get worked up that much. If they do get worked up, it's within family. You know, they don't get worked up like
true.
a lot of other people
That's
do.
true.
You know?
It's like I think
they're more likely to hit their kids or a relative than they are.
If he's more like if something is upsetting him, it's something that's going on in the family and not even so much like immediate family. It's like something that's happening in the extended family.
Yeah.
Because his immediate family like is normal as shit. Like they're nice. Like his mom is the nicest.
Yeah, but the back home crowd is a little different.
Very, very much so.
He's Canadian more than he's Pakistani.
Oh,
probably.
extremely.
Yeah.
He's extremely Canadian. He likes snow. He thinks it's weird going down to California in the middle of winter and there's no snow. Like Christmas time, he's like, this is just odd.
Is he a hockey guy? Right. Is he a hockey guy at all?
He's not really a sports guy. If he is, it'd be more baseball.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's actually more.
Well, that's not a surprise. I mean, Canada.
I'm basketball because
you're basketball.
We're Lakers.
Lakers. I grew up watching Magic and Worthy when I was a kid.
They had a good show on HBO Max, and it was about the dynasty, and then they got rid of it, and it was so good. They had the one guy from Step Brothers playing Jerry Buss, and
oh, really?
It was fantastic, and they fucking they cut it off after the second season. I thought it was great. Everybody from around here loved it.
Yeah, I guess that was the problem. Sometimes that stuff transfers because I remember when I saw Clerks before it got popular. And I remember saying to somebody, that's not good. Like especially like the hockey on the roof thing. Not that we play hockey on the roof, but the inline hockey at the time, like everybody was playing. That's the culture that I came from. It was heavy metal inline hockey every Saturday. Lots of Gatorade, that whole thing, and those kind of dirty jokes. I remember saying to somebody when I saw this, like, this is funny, but it's not going to work outside of Jersey. And it did. It connected with people. Up. Yeah, it really did. Yeah. I kind of put us in the map, but then The Sopranos, like, it's so funny. Like prior to that, everybody just lied and said they were from New York, you know.
Yeah,
And
like,
sometimes it's just easier. Where are you from? And you say New Jersey. Where? And it's like, I'm from New
That's
York.
like people.
You know?
That's like people from like San Bernardino that lie and say they're from LA.
Yeah, because I met a lot of people from Texas that were they say from Dallas, and they really weren't. And I've met a lot of people from Chicago that are from the burbs and say they're from Chicago. So, and I've seen that as well.
I didn't. You know what? I thought people from like Chicago are they're either really really nice or they're assholes.
They're Midwesterners. They're assholes.
Yeah. It's like Donovan. Donovan was just like, it's weird. And he goes, I tried to like, I'm like, what's the Midwest shit? And he goes, it's like certain things. And he goes, honestly, and he goes, I hate to say like this line. If I told you, you're not going to understand. It's like, what?
But it's just to me, they're so slow. And you know what embodies Midwestern? We got it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's Jeremy. Nobody embodies the most annoying Midwesterner than he does, in my opinion.
But then you have like Willie Mack, who's just like the
I've never
loud Chicago.
Well, I think he's close to Chicago. He's also half Italian, half Irish. So he's my. There's few guys.
He's your speed.
Like Nick and Willie are really my wavelength. They're the guys. If I was their age, they were the guys that I would have hung out with and grown up with. Yeah, they're definitely on my wave. For sure.
The guys you probably would have hung out with if you were like around that age and lived here and then came to VidCon.
Yes, for sure. No, they would have probably been my best friends for sure.
You know what's funny? I didn't even know. Like segueing into this.
Sure.
I didn't even know who the fuck Mamamax was until I actually met him.
Oh, did you? You met him?
At VidCon.
Well,
yeah.
Well, everybody told me that met him said he was keeping the act on, and there was like, no, like people were telling me like, no, he's into this, and we're like, I said, I don't, because I didn't buy it from the beginning. I thought that was a total act, and they're like, no, this guy's serious, man. He said, no, I think he's putting on a really strong act. You know,
he's very quiet.
Everybody I met told me he went into that sort of character, and I'm like, that's a sign that he's a phony. You know,
he was the very first night I met him,
and you would have gotten because he was comfortable around Muda. So he would have probably been more himself, the awkward guy that he actually is. If
he's had a couple of drinks, he might be a little bit more loose. One of the things that I think a lot of people, and I tried to like explain this on one of the episodes we kind of recorded regarding this. One of the things when the whole, Magnetar video came out and there was the allegations against him by his ex-girlfriends, a couple of things that really stuck out to people that had been around him, and had stayed with him is 2022 VidCon, he had a girlfriend because it was a house that Mudar rented, a big house that everybody, came and stayed with, and they brought like their girlfriends. So there was only supposed to be 10 people that were supposed to stay in this house. And he's very much strict, stickler for like the rules. Cause we get a lot of Airbnbs. He doesn't want like a bad rating or anything. Sure. And this place had a lot of cameras. It was like Fort Knox,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So he brought this new girlfriend because he had a new one like every other year. And this girl was running him ragged.
Really?
Yeah. Like she was.
I wouldn't I wouldn't put her hand on that. Yeah.
She was bossing him around, and she was, for lack of a better term, she was absolutely bad shit.
If you are into a chick, you will put up with shit that nobody would have accepted. You'll put up with anything. And women are the same way. They'll look if you're into a guy, you'll look the other way. I mean, you're
ignore
so
the red flags.
Oh yeah. Sure, I
been there.
I think we all have. I think of my ex-wife. I mean, I can't even recall what red flags I missed, and it must have been a ton. There's only one or two that I think of, but I gotta think there must have been more than that because I remember my sergeant telling me, which I was insulted when he said this. You make sure you keep your eye on your money. If you can, he said, I would put you have to have somebody controls your, I forget what they call that. You kind of give them financial, permissions so they can control while you're downrange. And I remember my NCO trying to tell me, without insulting her, give it to your parents, not her. But we were married. Now, she never stole my money, but something tells me he saw something I didn't. And we all do that with our friends' girlfriends, not so much with our own.
Yeah.
You know,
Girls do that with their friends' boyfriends. Like it was the same thing with my ex. I didn't, when I go back and look, I know exactly what they were. And they were things that my dad taught me opposite of. Yeah. He told me never get with the guy that doesn't go to leaps and bounds to find you.
Yes, it's annoying if you're the guy that has to go leaps and bounds, but yeah.
If a guy is into you, he will find you.
Yeah.
And he's like, my ex was the kind of guy, like, I always had to go to him.
Well, the secret is I heard I think they made a movie out of it. There's a book called He's Not That Into You. And
it's exactly
this girl, Emma, she's an Irish girl. She's living in New Jersey in time. She's back in Ireland. And she told me she was reading that. And there's a rule set. They call you, you don't call them. If they don't call you within a certain amount of days,
forget
it. Now, and the opposite is like, I always tell guys not to call them back, right away. And don't call more than once because you don't want to come off as too interested. It's such a weird dynamic. We can't just be honest with each other. But it's true.
You don't want to come off desperate.
You don't want to come off desperate, and it's like, oh God, well, if he can have me, then it's probably
let him find you because that's
women want to. When women, strangely enough, they don't want you cheating, but they want you to have value, and the value is other women want you. So so if you're calling all the time, you're letting them know that you're your only prospect, and they don't want that. They want to think you have other prospects, but they want you to pick them. It's the weirdest thing,
It's actually just like the primal. It's the primal thing.
Well, it's frustrated me when I was a kid because why can't we be honest with each other? Because I'm looking through. Why don't we logically discuss this? And that just doesn't work.
Because that's not fun. That's not fun.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's. I remember somebody telling me emotions don't respond to logic, and this thing you're doing, this dance you're doing, to the bedroom in marriage is very primal.
It's very, but it's like the very first time I met Mudar, I wanted, we spoke, but then he kept doing this thing where. We were at a party. He kept looking at me, and I'm just like, is he gonna fucking come up and actually really talk to me? And he did, but then the end of the night, he didn't ask for my number, so I didn't give it to him.
Yeah, was he super smooth with chicks before that?
Yeah, he was like,
oh really?
You could tell at the beginning he's slightly shy, but he's not bad.
Yeah, no,
but he is when he's
probably like me
than
I was. I'm.
When he starts talking, it's good.
I'm good now. I'm forward now, but I was not when I was of dating age. I wasn't good till I got married the first time. That was
he didn't ask me for my number, and I didn't just give it to him.
Well, you know what he had to do the next day.
He had to find me. He had to find me on Twitter. He knew where my Twitter was. He had to go find me on Twitter.
He is a YouTuber though, and if he looks like he's desperate or something, or creeping out girls or something like that, that'll come up and they'll use it against him.
Yeah.
So, you're trying to give your number to all the if look, he might not have asked for a girl for a number the whole night. He asks you, you turn around and say no. All you got to do is go on the internet. This guy pestered me the whole night, whether it's true or not.
Exactly, it's true, and that's what he was actually because he was drinking. So when he messaged me, I scared him because he was like, because. I hope you had fun last night with everybody. I was like, yeah, you seem like you had fun. And he said that scared the shit out of him because he was like, did I do something?
Oh, yeah. That's
it was really no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
I am totally glad I came of age before any kind of YouTube, I got to be honest, or any platform.
A lot of these kids are going to get their lives ruined before they're 25.
I got to be honest with you. I mean, and then I grew up, groupies now are taking advantage of people. Groupies were a bonus for being famous. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I had a bunch of single women and I was single too, I'd take advantage of that. Not take advantage of them, but I'd take advantage of the situation and I wouldn't apologize for it. I'm single.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Different time.
But I don't I remember Nick telling me, if you think you could do that rock star shit in today's day and age, you're out of your mind.
No.
And I'm like, you know what I thought then? Sucks for you then. Sucks for you.
Well, it's right now, with the Mamamax thing, kind of the girl that he had brought to the B&B was the one that was like his assistant and supposed to be like the super hacker.
Mm-hmm.
Which she was full of shit, by the way. And I called it. I was like you. I called it the first like 10 minutes that she showed up and I met her. I was like, she's full of shit. She's full of shit. But she was running him ragged. Kind of like what that Spencer is doing with him right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people think that
running him ragged.
He's ultimately responsible. He had the platform.
Exactly. She's running him ragged, but he's choosing
I
to
think
do
it's
it.
more like she might not be telling the truth to me, but I can use this anyway, and I always can lean on her.
Yeah.
And I could probably throw her under the bus if worst case scenario. Exactly. That's what I think she's doing.
Do you think that's what's going to happen? Like,
but he's in too deep now, so she's going to throw him under the bus.
Oh, 100%. We've already because the dynamic is like, the fact that she's living with him, which is just all kinds of nightmare scenario.
I remember I was the first one to tell your husband that, and you could hear his jaw drop when I was talking to him. He's living with her.
What? Because he had to really catch up because he was doing all the completion and
the completion stuff. And by the way, he promised
trying to
me he would get
gears.
on that. Do you know that? He's one of the few guys that he promised me, and then he wrote me about a week before everything broke, and he says, "I'm busy, but I'm going to do this." You have any idea how many times I've heard something like that, or I'm going to shout you out, or I'm going to do this? It's never done. No, he saw to it and came through with it.
When he says he's going to do it, he'll do it.
I had a few people coming to me. It's like, "Oh, do you think New Moon Heart's going to kind of like, be overly generous?" And I'm like, and I think they expected me to say, yeah. But I said, you know what? I don't think so, because just the way he came at me, and said, I'm going to take care of this. And I don't think it's on pain of, well, I would have bitched about it. There's no doubt about it. But I didn't get that feeling, you did it and you did it right. And I think he had a lot of good support from Nick. Yeah. He did it and did it right.
He will definitely do it. And this is something that he, like, it's not the typical YouTuber bullshit that I really didn't want to make this. He really did not want to get into this.
Yeah, I can tell.
I
understand that to a certain extent too.
Because he was working on like the same night that him and Nick and Bax and all them had the call. He was actually getting like Coffee was calling him over about something else, something that he was really interested in doing. Not this fucking Max shit. He had really zero interest in this, and he had zero interest. He gave Max the time of day because he was his friend.
Yeah.
And then when he had to tell him, you don't really have anything here that I can play with. Mm-hmm. And then some people came back and said, oh, well, you supported him through the whole pick a side thing. But he did say in his video, I can kind of agree with some of the message to YouTube, but I don't agree with the way that Max did it.
I remember he said that,
People forget, but there are a lot of people
I do believe that he was uninformed, just because both on the show conversations and even offline. So I do believe him, but I don't believe it for everybody. I don't believe it for Nexpo. I kind of believe it for Leon. I don't know how he's connected to it. Those are the people that kind of got noticed, because they're the only one because they're in Nick's video. But I don't believe it.
Nexpo is so personally attached because they didn't live very far away from each other. They saw each other like
Nexpo said something Nexpo said something in Lyrics' interview that I found concerning, because he did admit that that he asked for a video and then just completely stripped it of context and put him in something that he didn't agree to. Which, like, to me, that's when I started complaining. And that would have been 2001 or 2002 2001. That's when I really started complaining about this the thing right there. It was just a super red flag. And I don't believe that he didn't know that there was something up with this. I don't believe it for a minute. I think that Max, you could see it with the whole I'll cancel you thing. It felt like a racket to me, like almost like a mafia racket. Like, hey, nice YouTube channel here. Be ashamed if you're
be ashamed if something happened.
Yeah, and it was. I think a lot of people knew. In fact, I know a lot of people knew, because I didn't have anybody come. I didn't have one person come to me privately and say, "Why don't you lay off of Max?" Like, and nobody really could get a good argument. It was just like, "Yeah, you're probably right, and that sucks for you, but they'd like, oh, yeah, what can you do? So I do think a lot of people knew. I don't believe it was Mudar just because of the reaction, just because I talked to him. But I'm not so sure with Nexpo. I think
mean,
he was
I could
perfectly
kind of tell
fine
you
and listen, blew his way.
it wasn't until later 2022, I think. We were all hanging out. We were somewhere, I can't remember where we were at, but we were all at dinner, and it was pretty much like the whole group except for Max.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the what's going on with Max conversation kind of happened, and people were kind of comparing notes. And I think, and this was kind of on the heels of like the whole, this was a few months after all the ex-girlfriends came out. And, everybody kind of started talking about things that they've seen. And how this, like, is he just picking him crazy? Or is it because with one of the ex-girlfriends, like, she was always blowing up his phone, like, constantly. Like, what are you doing? It's like...
He's attracted to unstable people. What a shock.
He's attracted to unstable people, but that eventually maybe possibly works in his favor. Like, we've been really sitting here trying to figure out what the hell was really going on.
Manipulators attracted to each other.
Yeah, and that's kind of the conclusion that we came to the other day.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny because I think I was talking to Xylee about this the other day. I said, I can't remember the last time everybody was like unanimously like, you know what, fuck this guy. Even like his own audience is now like seriously fuck.
Well, I mean, he was lying. I think a lot of things. He's lying about me. I know it. The whole world, like my whole audience knew it. He's lying. He's taking things out of context. But it is different, and I'm probably guilty of this as well. When somebody lies right to your face and you know it, and they know you know it, and they just continue on the trail. And I think that's what really frustrated Muda and a lot of other people. I mean, there is some truth. I suppose I could bitch all day about people that didn't do something about it, and I am a little bit angry about some of that. It never ceases to amaze me on just how cowardly people in this field are, and it is immense. I remember like Leon, he got a question about I'm Alex. When that thing was starting to become clear as day, there was something wrong there.
That he was,
and he hung on a little too long for my liking. But after we had a quick chat, I think it was good. I mean, it's weird because you don't want to tell people like throw your people under the bus, but I think there's a way to do that. Like, look, he's my friend. I'm not backing off, but I'm not supporting it either. But I think a lot of people just like, well, I'm gonna ride this out, regardless of what he's doing to other people. The problem is most of the people you're dealing with is commentators, and they're all virtue signaling about virtue all fucking day. But when it comes in their house, they don't have the principles that they sort of expect everybody else or the people that they commentate on have.
Yeah, true.
Or should have. Excuse me. And yeah, it really pissed me off to no end. Yeah, I was probably, and again, I'm always one of a kind. Like, I was the only one that really wasn't impressed. And people were like kind of kicking back at me. Well, Nexpo didn't know this, Nexpo didn't know that, and what have you. I was like, it's not like I'm saying he's a bad person. I don't know the situation. I don't know what he did know, what he didn't know. It just, when I watched the interview, as much as I could stomach, it just reminded me of somebody that strategically was going on there because this was the best place to clear themselves of any kind of culpability. This was
for him, he really was like completely cutting ties, which
I don't care. I don't care if he cuts ties or not. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's just that it's looking the other. It's looking the other way when it's clear as day there's something wrong. And I think if I had to guess, and this is a guess, I can't see in his heart, I think he knew what was going on. I think he knew what he was doing and just hoped it didn't backfire on him. And I think that's how most YouTubers react and with stuff like that. It's one thing if he was like screwing a partner and it was a business thing or something. But this guy's running around calling people pedophiles.
Yeah. He's going around, there was more, and I think I from what I understand, it's going to come out in Nick's video this week, and, and it regards like night docs.
I don't know anything about that yet. I've heard some things, but I heard there's more coming.
The whole situation is like, you hear some things and then you're trying to figure out where they're coming from, and then you find out, it was originating from Max the whole time.
Yeah.
Not that Night Dogs doesn't have fault of things of his own, like people don't, but there's a lot there. There's a lot of meat there.
I can't comment. I don't even know what Night Dogs is. I can't comment on it.
You talked to him on your show once. He was defending Max during the whole...
Oh, yeah, that's son of a bitch. Oh, that guy.
That guy, yeah.
All right,
that
good.
Guy.
Well,
he
Max,
went around defending...
Max fucked him over? So Max fucked him over?
Well, what happened was that that particular friend group had distanced themselves from him for various reasons. Some of the reasons I'm not going to go into because I've dealt with. But
you see what I mean? You see what I mean? And when I talked to that guy, I gave him the examples of why I thought I want. And it was just, it was almost like I didn't say what I said. And he would just keep going on about, but it's important to have a conversation. All these empty sort of cliches. It's important to have a conversation. It's important to get the word out there. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant.
Yeah. He was trying to get back in the good graces of that group. Because they all lived locally and they were all hanging out.
What a garbage can. A total garbage can. See, that's what I think Nexpo's doing. That's kind of what I think Nexpo's doing, but it's obviously 100% with Night Dogs. So screw him.
It was 100%.
Yeah. What a phony.
He was in the outs.
So you know what? I'm 2 for 2.
Group.
I'm 2 for 2. Totally. I got that fucking phony, and I figured out Max too. I knew he was a fraud, and I knew Max was a fraud 2 years ago. Oh, jeez.
You were right. Now, you said something on your show last week because people kept asking you after all this stuff started coming out, like, Tommy, you're vindicated. How do you feel that you're vindicated? And you kept saying, I'm not vindicated. But then there was a point on your show last week. I can't remember what you were listening to where you had the light come on. It was the only
thing, I didn't feel vindicated. I still feel like nothing changed. I think this could happen again and will. In similar circumstances with different YouTubers. There's 100%. The YouTube thing is not going away. People are going to prioritize their fame, money over principle any day of the week. And it doesn't fucking matter that they're running around criticizing others for the same shit or other types of ill behavior. Like, oh my God, I can't do that. How could somebody do that? And when, like I said, when it comes in their camp, they just completely tap out. That's not going away. So I'll never... I'm not going to feel vindicated because there's no change that's going to take place. When I did sort of feel something, it was Max saying to Turkey Tom and Nick, and I don't know if Vega was involved in that or not. I wish he was because he probably would have saw through the bullshit himself.
Oh yeah, he missed that episode of halfway.
And he said something like, well, he kind of said like, I do this stuff to get a reaction. It's basically excusing his bad behavior. So if it doesn't like kind of work the way it seems to be intended, as long as I get it out there, as long as I get people to listen, in other words, get Mudar to shout him out, to get him money, to get more Patreons, then then it's a win for me no matter how I look. And I'm just I was thinking to myself, yeah, and that was your undoing. So that attitude, just he played that card too often, and then it ruined him with Charlie. So that made me feel a little vindicated that you could play the card too often, and then this thing can fall apart from there. So I felt better after that. But as far as no, I didn't feel vindicated at all. And I mean, I've called out Tipster, I've called out Mamamax, and they did all the things I called them out for. I've called out big YouTubers. I called out FaZe Banks, Actman. And I pretty much hit it on the head every time, and it doesn't matter. I always thought that if there was some truly psychic person, and somebody that could see the future or something like that, I can't see the future. I don't have special powers. I'm not even that smart. I keep things simple, stupid, and most people don't. Most people don't for some reason. They think there's a big thing behind it. Everything's kind of I look at things like a New York cop, pretty much surface level. If the guy has the banana in his hand, he stole the fucking banana.
Red-handed.
If the guy's swinging his audience at everybody with every time there's criticism, he's hiding something, and more than likely it's a scam. It's a work. So that's it's not magic. It's just simplicity. And Where was I going with this? So yeah, I didn't. I don't feel vindicated because I don't think enough people do that in that sense. But when I figured out that his trick was overplayed, then I felt a little better about it.
Right. You kind of have like this. I feel the same way, and it's not even the same degree. Because like everything that you've gone through with Max, it pales in comparison to something that I went through like with Tipster. You know, it's like you don't feel vindicated because it's like nobody listened to me for like how many fucking years? How many fucking years did you?
Well, I guess I was one of. I guess I was one of them. To be honest with you, but here's the thing: like, one of the things I did is Tipster did me really dirty years ago. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I do. I remember that.
I mean, he came to me during baited and he said, "Look, I'm really concerned about you. I see you got on baited and what have you, and I really don't think if I don't have this conversation with him, I don't think his channel blows up, because he started getting connected. Because I said, oh, this guy's a good guy, and he had issues with Keem, and I said, no, well, I'm doing it for this reason, that reason, and I'm sure your reasons are valid, and let me show you that I'm not, I'm not like who people are saying I am, what have you. So let's be friends." And for him, he had 10,000 subs at the time. So me, that was a lot. That's a lot,
Yeah.
And when the wind blew, and it was popular to bash me. I mean, people are accusing me of letting my son choke to death because my wife said metaphorically, the babysitter says he can't breathe, and he really just had a big cold. He was liking tweets that were, saying stuff like that, and it was just so out of the realm because I never done anything to it.
It's like where did this come from?
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
So like, and here
the wind blew.
There's a little
You're
criticism
right.
of like Nick and Augie and all those guys. A lot of them are telling me, you kind of look the other way, and then eventually, same thing with Bovax, I did, and then just forgave him. No, he never came and apologized to me for that, not once, and he's never going to. And I've talked to him recently. So when he did the same thing with Keffels to the people that told me, and this is not a secret. It's like I'm not calling out like Nick and Bovax or Augie or anything like that. I didn't give a shit. If you notice, like I didn't care. Now the stuff I got into it with you. Look, I really do believe that shit's between him and his wife. As far as if he wants to flirt, that's him. That's him. It's not bothering.
Oh
his
no,
wife.
it wasn't. It wasn't just that stuff. It was like the stuff that he was doing, like the going out and trying to find people on Facebook, and he fucked up. He fucked up some.
Well, I mean, I have to tap out. Lion Maker. I don't know if I'd go that far, right?
No, he fucked us. He fucked up some stuff regarding Paige about who he reached out to.
Oh, the Paige stuff. That's it. Yeah, I would.
And it kind of sent the signal only because like he kind of he was looking for connections and clout.
Yeah.
And it didn't have anything to do with her, because you know what? It's funny because that other stuff like I didn't care about, but he was doing that, and I'm like, he's doing this
on top. Yeah, you were trying to get attention. You're trying to get attention to the situation.
He was trying to get attention, and you do see people flip, and you do see a lot of people flip really, really quickly.
Oh, I think Tipster will flip back one day. I think he'll flip back.
100%. It's gonna come.
It's
like,
Well,
it's like other people, even like in commentary, and even like some of the orbiters. Like everybody thought I was a crazy bitch.
Yeah,
for,
I had to be honest with you. I thought I was one. I kind of thought I was one of them.
But when some people didn't know that, they didn't know the Mudar factor until he, jumped in that Twitter thread. There was a lot of people who immediately backed the fuck off.
Oh, I'm sure. Except me.
A bunch of people. No, you did it. You did it. And there's a lot of people that backed the fuck off.
Yeah.
And then I can tell you, I'm not going to name people. I'm not going to name who they are. But I look at them and I was like, okay, I see that. I see that. And there's a couple of people, and I'm not even talking, like, there's one person in particular, and I'm not going to say anything.
Sure.
I mention it to Mudar sometimes. I'm like, I remember that, by the way. Like, just so you know, I remember that. And he goes, I do too. Yeah. But he understands better than me. That's just kind of the way it is sometimes.
Well, I guess back then I didn't see you as you're kind of doing the female version of me. You're like years ago anyway. You're calling people out and staying consistent and principled. So yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. My attitude at the time is Tipster's Tipster. I've accepted him and he's in me dirty. So everybody else has got to accept him. And they don't.
Yeah.
they don't have to accept
not anymore.
it.
Keffels was the line too far.
Well, Keffels, I don't think it was so much any kind of political change or anything like that.
It's friendship change. It's like a 14-year-old girl changing friend groups again.
The dirtiest thing that he did to them was try to set them up with a story. And a fake story. And that, going directly after the credibility, and obviously Keffels was behind that. That to me, that I think, I wasn't surprised by it. Considering how honestly, I did, but it surprised them. It definitely surprised them. Sure.
As pussy and as whiny baby as he's always been, you got somebody like Nick who, I mean, of course he'll shit on him, but he always defended him. Like when it came down to it,
even privately.
And for him to turn around and do that,
he did Nick dirty. He did Bobax really dirty.
He did Boblax really dirty.
And
and now Boblax is going
and
to
it was so
bully
similar
him
to my situation
eternity.
because there was nothing there. I mean, we were defending his stupid, including me, his stupid lolly allegations. Right up until the time that he jumped in Keffels' lap. Yeah, which was so bizarre. I think he might have a policy that I've seen with those. It's just sort of Medicare policy. Like you're not friends with anybody online, so anything goes. So everybody's content. I can't do that. I know. I did no. No. I just because make you an animal, and I think he's adopted that. These people aren't real. It's family and home. I can't do.
There's no way in how he could be actually thrilled sitting there having a dying audience, having a dying channel now talking about all of this fucking political bullshit.
He's been, I don't know, because he's not very sophisticated politically.
No, not at all. He's fucking retarded.
He's a mega, he's retarded. A mega regurgitator.
There's no actual opinions of their own, and if there are real opinions, you're not gonna fucking hear him.
Yeah,
it's gonna go against.
And now everybody knows.
And now
his strength is his gentleness and his appearance of being reasonable, and he now
the fake nice guy.
The connection with Keffels. Everybody knows that's not really him. That he can be vindictive in a passive aggressive way. So it's difficult to take him seriously. I think he's apolitical personally. I think a lot of the bread tubers and
I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of that's how it's funny because kind of like mentioning like line maker, thinking about that, like kind of going back to the Max stuff. Like I have been, it's not a secret because he's talked about that too. Like it's been Paige the Panda. Like we've been talking to her. Like, because clown won't talk to child sexual assault victim, without another like woman present. So I've always been there for like the last 5 years because he does it the right way. Mm-hmm. And so we've been dealing with some stuff behind the scenes since 2019. So 5 years. Mm. 5 years we've been dealing with stuff behind the scenes. So when you look at the whole shit with Mamamax and how royally he's fucked it up. Yeah. I can honestly say this isn't how you deal with a situation like this.
Well, I don't think there was ever an intention to deal with it. You're talking about, clown having you there, taking precautions to right there, a certain amount of sensitivity and empathy.
And doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you're not making the public privy to because you're not going to give Line Maker or anybody else any time to prepare. Yeah, but all they've done is give Camden Gerard Davis time to prepare.
But the truth is with Max, he's a fraud, and this was a racket for money from the top down. That's all it ever was. And so there was never, like, why is he putting QR codes about assaulting Tommy, sexually assaulting Tommy C, which is funny, while he's defending assault victims.
Re-victimizing you all over.
I remember I saw that. I mean, it was amusing. It was funny.
I
get my
didn't
goat.
actually
But that to me,
read
that should have
them.
been the end of him right there and then, because
A couple of weeks ago, I didn't even read them till a couple of weeks ago, and I said,
They're pretty wild,
to
huh?
Mudar, I said, "You're fucking kidding me." I'm like, "This is actually sick. This is sick, sick." You're
Like
you're
it's
fucking sick psychopath.
He's preaching the choir here.
Yeah, I know.
But to me, like when I was shown them by my news team, I was like, you'll never believe it. They said, like, well, we kind of got him if we ever make a video, because like this doesn't work if you're advocating for the victims, which he's not.
He's not advocating for anybody.
He's not advocating for himself, but his pocket, yeah. And he's still running that jive too. I know somebody that talked to him recently. And he's just like, yeah, it's just about the victims at this point. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, how do you make an old apology video? Apologize to nobody but Charlie. You know?
I know you apologize to Charlie, and then a week later, that I'll cancel you fucking clip dropped in fucking 4K. That was beautiful.
Great.
That was beautiful.
Apology, like talk about an empty apology. You know.
Oh yeah.
He apologized to Charlie because he knew that was the lich pin. That was the stuff that wasn't me, and it wasn't anybody else. It was he bit off more than he could chew with Charlie. I remember Matt. You never believe this. Matt said to me, he goes, "You never believe this. He made a video on Charlie," and I said, "Oh, that was dumb." And I said, "No, that's great. That's great." I did sort of foresee. I thought at the time, if what happened, I knew, and I said to Matt at the time, this is it. If it doesn't happen after this, he's free to roam. And then I was kind of disappointed with Charlie too, in the sense that, like, I really don't like, I don't really like how you came at me. And there's no thought to, why did he come at me like that? Yeah. There's no, like, maybe this is, like, you really, with all that horror movie stuff, you're supporting, is anybody watching his fucking videos?
No.
And you're going to support him? I mean, it's so, like, Chud Logic is like, he can't believe that nobody said anything. So Charlie only got pissed off when he tried to swing his, like, when he kind of, I'm going to swing my audience at you, which is basically, he saw through that, but he couldn't see through his stupid videos. He couldn't see through the fact that I think is one of the reasons he hasn't made a video on it, on Max.
Charlie's not, from what I understand, he's not going to give him the time of day.
Well, yeah, I guess, because he looks ridiculous.
Clout for you. Done.
No, but he looks ridiculous if he does.
Yeah. Because
I'm one of the few guys. I'm suicidal. I am one of the few guys that's willing to criticize Charlie. No, because he looks ridiculous if he does. How could, like, I wanted to help you, which I think was all sincere, but why? Look what he does. Look at that fucking, like he can't even, like, every Unsolved Mystery Show, America's Most Wanted, any of those, even the ones that are in German over here, like, we caught this guy, we caught that guy. We look at what you're getting, what you're paying for. Look what being a fan is. He did none of that. None of that. And like nobody said, well, maybe this is just a bunch of horse shit. And I'm sorry, these are smart fucking people. Mm-hmm. Charlie's no fucking idiot. I mean, it's just like, it is frustrating. It is frustrating. Now you know why I don't feel vindicated. Charlie's much smarter than me.
That's understandable. Because it's, nobody did. Everybody just kind of, they did dismiss
Magnetar, I sure felt it. As frustrated as you were with the Tipster situation, and I was. Jesus,
he has life-ruining bullshit that he put up with. Yes! Absolutely life-ruining shit that he put up with. And
Charlie was going to put his name on it? So no wonder he didn't make a video. He didn't make a video. I'm not giving that time of day. That's what he's telling you guys. The truth is, he looks like a moron.
I mean, I think it's incredible, the absolute double standard with Max. The spoken word is evidence, but not in the case against me with all these women.
I think he said that on panic. He said that he was panicked. He's a constant liar, and that's why he said it. There's not much to read into that. I think people are more reading into that more than they think that he actually, but he doesn't believe anything. It's about money. So
and
he
Spencer is sus as fuck. You were one of the first ones to say, like, I don't trust it. And I've been saying that since the beginning. I was like, for the very first time I watched.
The women have picked up on Spencer. I've noticed that. Like,
me and Xylee right away. Xylee and I
Yeah.
talk right away. And we're looking. I said, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And she goes, yup.
All girls are angels in the back of most boys' minds. And they wouldn't do that type because it's the gentler sex.
Well, the thing about it is, what stuck out to me, I don't know how much of that 4-hour interview you've seen.
Nothing.
Podcast bullshit.
It's.
I watched it in like 2 times speed. I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, you know what? I know a lot of people like they process trauma differently.
Sure,
everybody does, right?
Everybody, sure,
that's
absolutely.
Fine.
Sure.
This bitch is talking about like she has a new movie that's about to drop and she's fucking headlining. She's like the star.
There you go. I didn't know that. I would have picked up on that, and I'm a guy.
I'm sitting there right away looking, and I was like, something about this is telling me she loves the shit out of this.
Yeah, YouTube fame doesn't fool me,
because she's thinking she's gonna get a whole career in a channel. Because one of the things Max had said was on a stream was, we're gonna she's living with me and we're gonna get her independent and everything. So he's sitting there he's telling her I got a lot.
Not
of
even
YouTube
realize he's making her uncredible because of the conflict of interest. He doesn't. Well,
she's uncredible because of her biological timeline. That right there is what sets me. So she supposedly has had 4 miscarriages in a very, very short time.
That's unfortunate.
That didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna say now.
That is the encapsulation of how men see women.
That didn't happen because I tried to explain this to 2 other YouTubers, Mudar being one of them, during talking about her timelines, and every woman that isn't a complete retard and knows how cycles work,
guys don't.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, she said she had 2 weeks in between pregnancies.
Oh, I might have picked up on that.
That's unless you're some kind of weird ass anomaly, that doesn't happen multiple times. And she said, well, I didn't have a way to test my pregnancy. Well, then how the fuck do you know you're actually pregnant?
Yeah, everybody knows you pee on the stick. That's just go to the doctor. I mean, those things are pretty accurate for the most part.
And she said she didn't. It's how do you know you weren't having a heavier cycle? And guess what? After you've been pregnant for a certain amount of time, you have to go get it kind of sucked out. You have to go to the hospital and get it sucked out.
Yeah, I've heard
after
that
you've
before.
miscarried, because guess what? It's called a DNC. It's called a dilation and cut.
That never happened to me. I remember I told everybody my first wife was pregnant, and everybody's like, "Are you an idiot? Are you stupid?" I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't have sisters either. So because miscarriages are so common, especially in first pregnancy, and it's and you're running around telling people you're nuts, but you're stupid. Now, thankfully,
you're not over 12 weeks left. Yeah,
no,
they want you to wait till the 12 weeks. A lot of men have no idea.
I did it week 2, and
men have no idea. It's okay. It's okay. Men don't know. Yeah. Men truly don't know.
I did it I'm proud, and
yeah, of course. Not yet. Not till after 12 weeks. And the thing about it is, to me, that's what stuck out where I said, and to people that have suffered miscarriages, like myself, you go, fuck you. It's stolen valor.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at her you have no idea that you were pregnant any of those times. Your timelines don't match. So I'm going to call bullshit. And if you have to come up with some ridiculous number to embellish your story, if you're embellishing your story, then fuck you. If you don't have anything real that stands on its own, then don't fucking talk. Period. Don't fucking talk. Don't say anything.
I can see why that'd be offensive to women that suffer.
And that's what she's not understanding. She doesn't understanding that people are going to pick apart this timeline and they're going to come after you.
He's not understanding that. He can't even keep his lies straight. You
No,
know?
she doesn't either. Like
Yeah.
she thinks that people aren't going to say anything
I don't
because
think
like
she's,
I'm
because I'm a victim. Yeah. Well, that's that was one thing I was talking to Magtar. You know, he comes from a very liberal. He was Obama. He was an Obama intern, and he's a very liberal guy. And he got like, you know, like I told him, I was like, you know, that shit doesn't fly on this part of the internet. And he says, oh, don't I know it now? You know, that doesn't know, but he's catching on real quick, and whether he knew that or not, or you know, he went about it in sort of a way, because I truly believe that the reason people didn't believe him is because he sort of had an SJW vibe when he released those girls. But just because you had a vibe and you had bad presentation or presentation that was not going to work with this particular audience, that you're trying to sort of market it to, for lack of a really better word, doesn't mean you're lying. And it doesn't mean the girls are lying either. But I mean, everybody I spoke to, that, like, because the way it works with SFTP is the guys get a look at it and they only give me the stuff that they think I'm going to take a look at. And I asked about that, and he said, no, it doesn't look that good. But you know, it doesn't like one of the so-called victims, you could pass it off to a bad relationship for sure. And then I just like,
oh, definitely, he was a bad boyfriend.
And I was like, yeah, bad boyfriend. Like then we're not using that. Scrap it. It's gone. You know.
Yeah.
But I think that has more to do with I think there is something viable there now, and I didn't think that before. And it's because I've talked to Magatar, and I see where he's coming from, and he also isn't so up his own ass or up that ideology's ass that he can't say, yeah, this didn't work for a reason. I'm not going to blame society for this.
He understands
it. He understands
He
it.
Gets it.
This is not, like, not everything works the way it does in DC.
He's not going to quadruple down on it.
No, he's not. But I think most people
believe
would.
All victims,
My experience is most people would. Yeah, most people would. I think it was more of just an unfair confusion on his part, with the best of intentions, and he did it the best way he knew how. And if he had known some of us, we would have said, keep it off your main channel. Don't do it this way. Have somebody go over there. But he didn't have any of those tools, options, or friends. Now he does.
Yeah. Now he does. Now he's got a lot of people like at his.
Because I would have told him, don't put it on your channel.
That's always so nice.
Don't put it on your channel.
Yeah.
Start a new channel. I don't care if it has one sub. Start a new channel.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're gonna have to have people and get pushed by the other commentators. You know, you have to start off that way.
And I think that's what a lot of people do, like underestimate. They underestimate, like, if you got connections, you know, like it's not, you know, go to people, ask them questions, you know. Like, I don't think I've ever had a YouTuber be like, go, no, fuck you, I'm not going to help you with this. At least, you know, not to, like, even if it's just a little question about something. People are mostly, YouTubers want you to ask them for help. That's what I figured out. They like it. It's oh, help? Yeah, sure. I got you.
It's talking shop, too. You know?
I
think one of the reasons that, I mean, there's a lot of commentator haters. A lot of people hate me, hate Diorio, hate the whole commentator thing. Love to see some of us fall or messed up. But I think one of the reasons that we never really stepped in it so far, stepped in it like Max has, is because I'll get a call from Nick, and I'll go to, I'll get a call from Nick. Hey, optics check. What do you think? Right? And it doesn't mean what I say goes. It just means I give my input, and then he does what he does with it. Or Matt says, scrap this, go with that. Here's why. And then it's up to me whether to go forward or trust his judgment. And I'm like in the 100th percentile. I know when not to listen. To say, okay, I appreciate your input and change something, or completely ignore it and go forward. And then that experience comes with actually talking to people, like you said. And you'd be surprised. They will talk shop with you. You know? Amateurs, the real amateurs, like the Sens of the world and the people like that, they're like, all you got to do is this, and all you got to do is that, and all you got to do is this, and that's all big, because that's how Mudar got famous, and that's how Tommy C got a platform, and that's how because all they did is this one sort of trick, and it's just never the case, and that's why they lose, like and that's why we win. You know,
that doesn't work like that, and people don't understand. Like like going back to like somebody like Craig Beckett, who by the way, I didn't even know was helping you out on your server.
Yeah, I think
and
he's
he
a
was
spy.
active in a group chat, and he never mentioned it.
Never once to me.
Never mentioned it.
He never mentioned it, but he kept on going after Nick, which I found
really
odd.
And that's the thing. So
I told him to stop, by the way, and he left my show, I think, to go after Nick. Yeah.
I did too. So here's the thing. Around that time, Nick and I didn't like each other. Nick and I didn't like each other for the
huge falling out. We didn't talk
time.
to each other 6-8 months. We didn't talk to each other for 6-8 months.
Me and Nick didn't like each other from like 2019 until probably like we've been cool for probably like the last like since the whole tipster thing.
Because he hates women.
we and we just didn't get along. We didn't get along at all. And so what ended up happening was with the whole Craig Beckett thing, Craig was like after him. Just fucking like he had the biggest hate boner.
And no matter how many times he got bitch slapped by Nick, he wouldn't calm down.
Yeah.
And then he was with me. He was with me. I told him, like, I'm having a problem with Nick. I don't want to have any more. But we had, we severed ties. We have a huge issue. We have a huge issue. You can't be doing that because you're under my banner now. And it really bothered him. And then he up and left, immediately swung at Nick and got bitch slapped again.
He did. And what happened is like I told him because one of the times we were going at each other on Twitter and he was talking about it in a group chat. And this is when I didn't like him. I said, hey, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, Craig. I'm going to tell you something right now. As much as I don't like Nick, he's smart. And he's not going to fuck.
No,
he's
and
not.
I said like
he's
that.
not.
He
and
wasn't
I said, he's
like
not.
that. Everybody I don't like is stupid.
He's not going to.
Yeah.
And I said he's not gonna keep talking unless he knows he's right.
He's not gonna get you unless he knows he can beat you.
Exactly. He already knows. Like he already knows how he's gonna fucking do it. And I told him that.
And he's gonna check with everybody else.
Yes,
and make sure it sounds right. I mean,
this is how he operates. I said and I told him the same thing. I said just like a bunch of people do in this group chat, he's doing that in another group chat.
With guys that have serious followings.
Right. And I said, listen, you're not going to win here. Just back off. Don't say anything more. Back the fuck off.
Well, I had a similar
You're not going to win. And he didn't listen.
No, of course. I had similar conversations with him. And I even went into detail. I didn't just say, Nick Smart, you're stupid, right? Or just said it's not a good idea. I said, here's why your system doesn't work. And I went into detail and what have you. I gave my experiences when I've made mistakes. And there was this I remember I was talking recently about this confusion. Really? Really? And then I realized because he was always confused when I was talking, he was masking denial with confusion. So he was denying everything I was saying and just acting puzzled to be English polite. Right?
Wow. I did not know that. I didn't understand. Yeah. He was told to knock it off, and then I got really before the whole fucking sexting minors bullshit. Which, by the way, I had a lot of people come at me because we were cool. Yeah. I don't know why. I think it was because of the Tipster thing, because Tipster kind of started it.
Yeah.
And it was the, one of the, I didn't advocate for him being a fucking, exchanging nudes with a minor. Yeah. Why the fuck am I going to answer for him? A lot of people were doing that. And it's just what the fuck am I supposed to do about that? I'm not fucking check marking on that. So, I didn't like that. So what I did is I actually privated podcast episode because I just didn't fucking want to deal with it. And then I had a lot of people coming after me oh, you're hiding something. And I'm like, I'm really not. It's on Spotify and it's on Apple. If you want to fucking listen to it, I just don't want it on my channel anymore. And I had people fucking coming down hard on me to the point where, I might be dating a 3.5 million sub channel. I still went to other people. That was the thing about going to other people what should I do? I went to Clown. I said, what the fuck should I do about this? And he goes, I wouldn't have privated the video. I just would have kept that up. But, this is how you got to play this. I still went to other people and got other, how the fuck should I deal with it?
He didn't grasp that. I mean, no matter how many times you explained it to him, nothing. I gave him, and nobody could say that's not true because, you had Illuminati come through me. Nick's come through me, right? And Nick has surpassed me. And not even just in subs, in knowledge. But he started with me, and Illuminati did too, and also connections are really helpful, especially if you have a good personality, can talk to other people.
Yeah, you need it. You need friends.
He could not grasp or he was just in denial, or he was like doing a Zen thing, like this is all you need, or that's all you need, and this is how it really works. Like, how can you say how it really works when you haven't been seriously successful?
Yeah.
You know, like how do you do that? Like, don't you have to have a kind of not even just like a viral video, but like some kind of consistent platform? You can have a big videos, you can even get some hits, but you don't have a platform in the sense where people are there to support you no matter what. That's one of the hardest things to do.
The big guys even go to each other and
Yes.
go, what should I do? The
Yes.
big guys, the big guys do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was telling him. This is how it works. I figure I would gain garner a little mistake having worked with Keemstar and done the baited thing, and then kind of gotten, punch up victories over guys that could have crushed me.
Well, the baited thing was completely.
Nothing worked with him. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The beta thing with you was like you guys were like the first like YouTube podcast.
Yeah, the big one. Actually, Zaptai and all them had the first one, but it was the first big one.
Hotwood Soup was a piece of shit. That was boring as fuck.
Yeah,
as far as like
three soy boys talking about YouTube. That's all it was.
Like, nobody fucking wants that. I want yelling, and I want banter, and I want like because look at like I heard like lolcow went insane last night. I haven't
watched it yet. I haven't watched, but I heard it was. I heard Ralph. I guess Ralph went in there.
Boogie got cooked.
I heard Ralph. Yeah, they both got cooked. And Tommy, and he said something bad about me, and apparently Keem said, "What you got against Tommy?" I don't even know, or something like that. I can't wait to hear it.
I want to know, like, what's like your honest thoughts on Boogie?
Honest thoughts on Boogie?
Yeah. Overall, now that you even like coming from before experiencing lolcow,
I think I would damage the podcast if I gave it to him.
Oh shit! I think I kind of.
I'm getting along with him. Why would I go screw that up?
Yeah.
So true, I guess I'm a little bit of a phony myself.
No, it's not phony. It's keeping something going.
I'll say this: Boogie doesn't like me, and I think it's because it's for the same reason. Mamamax DM'd Nick and Mudar and all our friends that had followings for the Pick a Side YouTube, and he didn't hit me up, yet he used me in the video because I would have said no. And I might have tipped some people off. I might have went to Nick, like, don't get involved in that. That looks like a scam from the outset. That you don't know how he's going to use it. You see the videos he's making, and he's saying he's doing all this stuff, and there's just no substance there. And you can see that with the interview that your husband did with Nick and him. There's just no substance. And then when you get to when you start to scratch the surface, why won't you talk to the victims and completely sort of distract from it? And that's not a lot of substance there either. I love the way Nick stuck up for Mudar.
I was driving in the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was listening to it. And when Nick stepped in and did the hold on a second, put Max back on, you sneaky little fuck. Yeah. I was howling because it's like, I saw what you fucking did there. And he does. It's like the meat shield. And actually, I sent Nick the other day because on Instagram, like, I didn't realize I'm still following Max because, I don't go on Instagram that much. He posts a picture of his new puppy. Mm-hmm. Max does.
Oh, does he?
Times are a little rough right now, so I just adopted a new puppy, and I'll be back soon. I'll be talking. I just don't know when and everything. And I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to Nick, and I said, "New meat shield just dropped."
Yeah.
He's doing the Boogie, the Sammy shield.
Well, I will say, Boogie does love that dog. No, Boogie can't do what he does. He knows there's no room there. And I think it goes back years. It goes back to an incident that me and Billy the Fridge has. He doesn't like. He really gets under my style of criticism. Really gets under his skin, and you wouldn't think that because when I go after him, he handles it quite well on the podcast. But I think Boogie bottles a lot of stuff, and I think he hates a lot
He
of people.
does, and he
really
does,
like
he
but
doesn't.
he pents it up, and. He can't. But I'm going to tell you something. I went to both those guys, right? And I was kind of, it came out during an argument. And I said, I think we should play games together, get to know each other, and do us. And I want to reach you out as a friend. I always say, I ask how Desi's doing. I always ask how Kelly's doing. I am a family-oriented person. I think we should kind of have something like that. And you could, like, in an argument later, like, he sees that as some kind of weakness. It's pretty clear. And you wouldn't think that with Boogie. But yeah, I think he sees that like I don't want to.
He's fake.
It's like I don't want to be your fucking friend.
Because he's fake.
Yeah.
But he wants people, but that's the thing. He wants to have approval from people that don't want to fucking give it to him. Because you were willing to give him the approval. Now he'll just be like, no, fuck you.
Well, I wasn't giving you approval. I was let's get together and create a synergy.
But that's the way he looks at it. He looks at it as approval.
I'm used to dealing with professionals like Harley. I'm not.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off, dude. Because that's the thing. That's why he wants.
Normally, I would say, like, all right, he just got pissed off. He got an argument. By the way, one of the things that he was mad at me for was kind of legitimate. I did cross the line a little bit. As far as like, because it had nothing to do with, I wasn't fucking with him to get content at him. I yelled at him. And I was out of line. Absolutely. Yeah, I was totally out of line. But yeah, you could see like it came out. But I will say this. I hope I'm wrong because I gave him the first Mamamax video, the one that I made that I think kind of planted the seed for this that would end up really biting him in the ass with Charlie. I think I planted the seed in a lot of the fans' mind. He really isn't producing a lot of evidence. He really isn't producing a lot of results. I think that seed, the one I did not this January, last January, I think that really planted the seed. And I think that ultimately led to him getting desperate by losing Patreons. In June, I think he turned off the Patreon thing. And I think that's why he gambled. And I think it was a deliberate gamble to go after Charlie. I think it was a gamble. I don't think it was something like, I need Charlie because it's so important to help these victims. I need Charlie because I need to replace the Pats I lost because of Tommy.
Well,
that's what I believe.
I was a little like when Mudar said that he had gotten initially, I think it was back in like October when he first like sent him stuff. And he was like, yeah, and he goes, Max sent me some stuff he's working on. And he goes, and I truly just don't fucking understand it. There's nothing there. And he's like,
I think a lot of people did that. Like, oh,
and
Max.
he picked up no. He picked up the, this is like pick a side and he wants everybody to jump on board, but there's nothing to jump on board here. And he goes, and he told him that, like from the jump. I think like him and Turkey Tom told him from like the jump, like, you don't have anything here. But I think how this is going to end up is, first of all, like the Spencer thing, like you have somebody who's on disability and doesn't have a job and she's living in your house with you and your girlfriend. I wonder how the girlfriend feels about it. I don't know that I met this girlfriend.
If that's her laughing when he's going to
cancel, I know.
If that's her and not Spencer, but I think it's her. She's all in. She knows it's a scam
for now.
Yeah, if that girl laughed, she's got some idea the whole thing's a scam.
She knows what's up. It's funny because it's like, but having another woman come and live it, that wouldn't fly with me. I always kind of scratch my head like,
I want to
how
say
is
something
that working?
I want to say something horrible.
Just say it. Just fucking. We're probably all thinking it. So just say it.
Because look, I don't find Spencer attractive. I don't think she's
no.
So
because everybody was like, oh, they're fucking, and I'm like, no, I've seen Max's exes. They're not fucking.
I didn't know anything about it. Okay. So
like, no.
You're a very attractive woman. So if somebody's coming in, there's really no sexual threat.
I still wouldn't like it.
Really? Okay, fair enough.
I wouldn't like the idea of my husband
Arnold Schwarzenegger was banging
another woman.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was banging the maid, and she practically looked like a man. Yeah.
Sometimes they'll stick it in anything. Sometimes they'll stick it in anything if they're bored enough.
Here's another thing: is somebody who's cheated before. Sometimes I compare it. If you watch Sopranos, when Tony sleeps with the girl with one leg.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't sleep with her because she had one leg. He didn't sleep because he was freaky. He didn't sleep with her. He slept with her because he had a connection with her. And you can make a connection with anybody. So I think what happens, even if you're not initially attracted, I was initially attracted to my wife. You know, no, it was
people
not a
can
love at
grow
first
on
sight
you.
thing. And then you truly do fall in love with their personality.
Yeah.
And
People
everything.
grow on
Yeah.
you.
People grow on you. And like, you know, we also, when you fall in someone, if you fall in love with somebody that you're not your ideal sexual pick, right? I'm not saying that's my wife, by the way. I'm just saying my experience in the past, right? The bond is much closer long term. It doesn't feel it because most of your experience with love is whether you know it or not, sexually based. It's an emotional, sexual response, and you don't know. Oh no, I don't want to just sleep with that person. I really care for who they are. You don't even know who the fuck they are. So when you're like 30 or something, like I was, and you like, you know, all right. When me and Andy started dating, I think it was sort of friends with benefits thing, and then she did something. It was crazy enough with the YouTube video. I did a character called Camera Phone Knowledge, making fun of a guy that ripped me off in a car and the way he talked, right? And I set it up like a sort of beatnik San Francisco hipster that, you know, he shoots knowledge on people because he knows what's up, you know, like that sort of thing. And then I had this weird intro. I'll send you the video if you want. And I just walked over and I said, "This wall is red." And then the thing ends, and there's a jump cut and the music plays again. You know, in other words, like pointing out the obvious. And then my wife, so we filmed it. And I was like, "Yeah, we got it. I'm done." And she said, "Why don't you go over there and just do this wall is white to back it up because that's doubly funny." And I fell in love with her at that point.
Yeah,
that was the moment that I was like, I want this woman.
You bond like over.
We were good friends. Like we were becoming really good friends, and she'd done a lot of things to keep me in the country and show me how to do the German thing. But that's when I fell in love with her.
There's a click moment, and see, the thing about it is, it's like when people assume like. I get this all the time, and it doesn't bother me, not as much as it used to, because it really did bother me. At first,
I think I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, well, you know, she's obviously a gold digger because," and I'm like, you know what? How do you know what's my type and what I'm attracted to? Like, you don't know me at all. Like, I've never been like the.
Well, see, having that experience, whether you were attracted to him initially or not, that's a childish way to look at things. There may have been some kind of this wall is red, this wall is right moment that happened with him, and you might not have been into Indian guys, but you're into this fucking guy.
He wasn't the first Indian guy I ever dated.
Okay, so then it is sexual type then. Okay, so there's a part of that.
I like guys that are a little bit darker complected. I like brown eyes. I like dark hair. That's something I've always been into. I've never really strayed from that. Ever. Like if you look at my whole roster.
In my 30s, though, I thought it was cooler to find it because I was married, divorced. I knew what it was like to be married. I liked being married, strangely enough. Somebody had a quest to be a single. That because I didn't know what a good woman was, right? And then I did. So, look, guys. Chris Rock said this. Girls can't move down in money. Guys can't move down in looks, right?
Yeah.
But if you, and it's not lowering your standards. If your standard is no longer 100%, there's got to be some sexual attraction. You know, my wife's got a big ass and blonde hair. Okay, there's something there, right? It's not my ideal when we first met, of course, but there's got to be something there. It's got to be a little. But if it's not 100%, then you can actually get to know somebody. But look, also 100% can get you over, and then you fall. Because I think most people that get married young, that get married like attracted to each other for appearance reasons, the ones that stay together actually have this wall is red moment during their marriage, maybe even 10 years deep, maybe even
it's
10
crazy.
years deep.
And you have it. It's like a. Because we were like the Twitter mutuals, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, you guys e-dated." I'm like, that never even happened either, you know? Because he said when he followed me back, he was like, "She's cute, but she probably has a boyfriend, and I don't get in DMs." So
I don't blame him for that.
Like that's that. But
so we're dating. I'm so glad I'm old, man. I'm really grateful that I'm not just saying that.
But we met and we hung out, and then when he found me the next day, because I made him go find me. We hung out the next night, and
had said something. We were texting the whole day, and we were already hanging out for like a couple hours, and I had made some stupid, wildly obscure Chris Chan reference.
Oh, and he probably fell in love with you right then.
And he said, he goes, all right, she's a fucking autist.
That's awesome.
She's mine. That's what he said. She's mine. That's it. I'm done. I'm completely like, I'm never looking for ever again.
I thought I had the best like YouTube love story. That's even better. It's Christian.
I said something about something, and he just kind of stopped, and he paused, and then he like finished the sentence,
awesome!
And then it was over. It was over. That was that.
Oh my God, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Seal the deal, and we were done. We never looked back. Literally never looked back.
Look, anybody, like, I mean, he's YouTube famous. Maybe a little more than that. But I mean, even if you were dating like Johnny Depp or some like super hot act, you're going to get the same shit. It's just a part of coming with it. And only you know if you're gold digger or not. The fact that you're working still doesn't make me think you're a gold digger, by the way. I don't know. It's like
I like working. I like working, and I eventually want to get. I mean, I do want to do stuff with my YouTube channel, but I just don't have time, and I'm lazy. You know, I think you
got to be passionate about it. It's got to be like this week. I don't think somebody else's misery is.
I am passionate because it's like I'm working today. Mm-hmm. Like I'm up at 4:00 in the morning doing this podcast.
Yeah, you did. You got up for me.
I have to get. Thank you. And then I have to.
Thank you for
then I have to be at work at 9 o'clock.
No one's ever done this for me before. Like they
really?
Said no one.
Nobody.
No.
No way.
No, not once.
That's
and some
crazy.
of it, and most, I don't want to assume like, oh, everybody else is a bunch of bastards. No, it's mostly because it's either live, they can't. I've had to stay up late. I've done it for other people. So it's not always like their fault, but nobody has ever made the effort that you did to get up 4 a.m.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, nuts.
I'm like that. I'm like, let's make this work. And it's like, it's like at 9 o'clock I have to go to work, and it's 6 o'clock right now. 9 o'clock I have to go to work, and then tonight I have to get to the airport because I'm fucking flying to Dallas. Like I'm literally like going. And I knew it's like I'm gonna be so fucking tired today, and it's only like a 3-hour flight, and then we can't even check into the B&B till like 4 p.m. Like fuck my life, but I want to get this done because it's like this weekend's gonna be a big weekend as far as like content again.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm super busy too. Like I have my schedule today. I got up, checked, saw what I was gonna do with my show, and we were talking before about it's kind of a Joe Rogan like interview. We were talking before about how discipline, and I've gotten away from it. Discipline sort of gives you a certain freedom. It kind of helped that I got a little juice, a little more views. I'm feeling a little more into it. I got up yesterday. I got up. I should be doing it every day. Getting up. I should be cutting stuff for my show, making videos as I feel like they come to me. And I did that yesterday and today. Got up. Did this, had this one. I go pick up my son after this. I study German after that. I prep for the next show, maybe stream afterwards. I got a schedule, and it is so much more freeing. There is freedom and discipline. There really is. There's a
lot. It's like you just gotta have like
and I'm not always doing it either. Sometimes I'm up to 3 a.m. for no fucking good reason, and it's fucking up the rest of my day, and I have to sleep in. But when I'm in this kind of schedule and I'm getting results, especially if I'm getting results, which I am, I haven't been this
you're growing again
happy. It's not just the growth. It's my the only thing I got to stick in now is exercise. If I can work exercise in the schedule, then that's great. A lot of people bitch that I don't do the streams. That I don't do the stream, the lockout streams. It's just it would fuck me up. But if I'm up, I'll give Keem a shout if they want me. Sometimes they don't want me there. If they want me, then I'll go on. If they don't, they don't.
Keem is funny. Keem is actually like, it's so funny. Like the what you see is what you get when he gets excited. He calls Muda all the time, like on the phone, and he'll be like, Muda. I have the best Muda. I have the best idea. What if? And then he'll laugh like at his own joke. He'll be like, what if we? It's so funny.
He has great ideas, though. I mean,
he does. And I'm sitting there listening to him, just like one time we were in the car, and it was about like the whole like esports thing, like in Vegas, with like locale live and everything. I was like, that's a big idea, but
Can I ask
how
you
many people are
something?
going to come out to Vegas? Yeah.
Can I ask you something? Like, are you a YouTube fan before you met Mudar and have you, or just being in LA, maybe you knew some guys or something like that?
The thing about it is how I actually started watching a lot of YouTube was around the time like Baited.
2016.
So
the best year.
I was So
Best
I was
year
a lurker,
ever.
but I was actually like,
So
like
you weren't connected. My point is, you weren't connected to anybody, correct?
I was not connected, and how I got connected
Is it
was
surreal to be next to Muda in a car, hearing Keemstar's voice come through?
sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes
do you ever
it
like?
hits.
Do you ever just like?
It
like,
hits
holy
sometimes, like
shit, you know?
yeah, like what the. I do have the what the fuck is my life moments, like
Yeah, I've had
every
I've had a
once
few
in a
of
while.
those. Can you believe this?
where you're just like, what the fuck is my
I've
life?
had
Yeah,
a few,
definitely.
Like, it happened more
definitely.
often than like I almost hope it doesn't happen. Like, cause like I don't trust YouTubers, but getting a message and texting back and forth in a bar from Australia to Max Mofo was a really nice night for me. We're not close by any, but that was a really nice. I was drinking, he was drinking, and we were texting each other, doing the whole thing. And Max, but that was like huge.
Well, yeah, when people find out about you through somebody else, like, because I can't remember, like Donovan had he spent like he was really excited because he was gonna go talk to Belle Delphine. Right, like
That's
he was
cool.
like, yeah, she wants to get me into a call. Like a couple hours after the call, she's like randomly following me on Twitter.
Oh wow!
And I was like, what the fuck is this? And he goes, oh, I might have showed her a couple of your videos and she thinks you're funny. And I was like, what?
Oh really?
Like, why would, and now like we just sit there and meme at each other. Like she'll die off the internet for like a couple of months. She'll go fuck off and just go live her wildly crazy cool life that she has.
Yeah, imagine.
And
well,
then,
I think
and
Nick's
then
had
she'll
those
come
moments
back and
too.
meme. Yeah, and you're just like, what the fuck is my life? Like, why? It's like how? And like when I started, like I lurked for a lot of years, and then probably like around like 2018ish, I somehow got active in Colossal's Twitch chat.
Oh, so you've really been around. You've been on the ground with us forever.
For a long time.
Oh, wow.
So, but he started picking out stupid little jokes that I would make in the
awesome.
chat and start interacting with them. And then that's when he opened up his Discord again.
You know, if I'd have known that, I never swung on you, Tipster. If I didn't know
and it's like from like then on, like when I say like Clown was like my first like YouTube friend, that's true.
That's awesome.
That's 100% true. And a lot of people,
good guy to start with.
Literally what everybody says. Like, honestly, I don't know how much better you can start than that. And like, in the fact that like if he the first time I called into your show, that's when you guys were watching the iDubbbz video, and that's the last time that Clown was on.
Oh.
And I called into your show, and he tells you, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, but you should pull her up because she's a good person.
Oh, I don't remember that, to be honest.
I know her. He said, I know her. She's a good person. And I went, aw.
Yeah.
Like, that's so nice.
Well,
like, that's such a nice thing to hear
Clown
from her.
absolutely hates women, so you must have made a really good fucking impression of him.
Yeah, because you know what? Because, like, during so many things, like, so many years, he knows he can trust me because I keep my mouth shut about things, too. That, either things that he's working on or, he knows I don't fuck people over. Because, he's seen it for, like, 5 years, So it's like, and I've had him on some things. Like, he's been on this podcast twice. But I'm always really about asking people to do stuff, and he knows that. So, but I did have him do, like, I made a video with Donovan a couple of years ago. It's about Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys.
Oh,
right?
I know he is, yeah.
Yeah, because we like, I like weird, like, niche shit like that. And
I wasn't niche when I was a kid. The Ghetto Boys.
I know, it's niche now.
Yeah,
and I
it
kind
is.
of did like a little mini documentary about like his life. And there was like the rap where he talked about, it's called Everclear, the song Ever So Clear. I had Clown read the part where he got shot in the eye.
He
like
got shot in the
point
eye
where
with his fight with his girlfriend. Yeah, I know.
So it's like this is what happened, and I had Clown read that part. And that was another like what the fuck moment. Like, I made a video and I got him to read something on there. Like, I sat back.
That
and
was
like,
a big
that's
thing.
Fucking
Well,
that was a huge. thing to
Nick
me.
has told me, like, you know, just like with Wings, and because he grew up. I mean, he was a kid. If you're in your late 20s now, like, when he was a kid, if you were in the YouTube, like Boogie was the Call of Duty guy, and Wings was the big time YouTuber. And it is. I think I've never talked to him about it. Come to think of it, but he does have like I'm talking to Boogie, and he's talking about going to shoot this fucking guy, and he's not getting around. You know, I mean, it is kind of surreal. It probably more so for your guys' age than mine, because I didn't grow up with this, but I did go through. Ray William Johnson was big for me. That's probably how I got really into YouTube. And then the thing that got me closer to this area was the Gamergate skeptic community thing. That was my sort of fandom. And then you know, I got like mega lucky with Baited and Keen. So that was kind of my thing.
It's still goated to me. That's still like the most goated podcast.
I look. I don't make. I make more than enough to pay my bills because I don't have a lot and I don't spend a lot of money. And when I do spend, we live on our means. I've never had any.
Well, that's even like even rich people. Even rich people don't like to.
I know rich people. I probably spend more than the average rich person because rich people are cheap. And that's why they're rich, because they're cheap.
Exactly. They know what they're.
I know all about that. Like people always say, like, well, I had that money. I do that. You wouldn't do shit. You'd be protecting it. You'd be doing this and saying because you're afraid to lose it.
It
it's
would
like you
pain
can't win.
you to let it go.
If you're
pains
poor,
you to let it go.
If you're poor, yeah, exactly. If you're poor, you're pained because you don't have it to spend, and if you're rich, you can't spend it because it pains you for some psychological reason.
Exactly.
So you cannot win. You cannot win.
You don't want to see that number go down in your bank.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you see like rich playboys and stuff, it's only for a phase. Like you're not seeing like Logan Paul and Jake flaunt like they used to. You know,
yeah, you're
that
not.
Was a phase.
The peak. The peak is over.
Yeah.
It's peaked, and now.
Well, I don't think it's that, because like Logan is definitely still relevant. You know, I mean, he's got drinks over here in Germany.
Jake is,
but he's
Jake
not.
Is, yeah.
He's not doing the sort of the fuckboy thing anymore. That's gone. And Jake's a boxer.
Yeah.
And Jake's a boxer, so I'm sure they're plenty busy. I'm sure they're workaholics, both of them. You know.
You have to be like people that.
I have a feeling your man's a workaholic as well.
He doesn't stop. Like it took actually. He's now at the point when I can rip him away and make him, because the only way to make him stop working is like take him away from home.
Oh.
He has to
because he
not.
Works at home.
Yeah, he has to not be.
So you guys probably
home.
spend a lot of money on vacations and getting away and stuff. That's probably where most of your money goes. Well, yeah,
I'm like, okay,
yeah.
even if we go like somewhere just for like the weekend or whatever,
yeah.
You know, that's a way just to get him to just not.
Well, now that you got the money, what you should do is every time a project, a Mamamax or a completion is finished, to just get him out.
That's usually what I do.
That's
it's like,
smart.
Okay, like
if you have the money,
done,
you can do it. And you guys probably, even if it's
we
just
need
like
to go somewhere,
going to Toronto or some shit like that. You know?
Yeah, well, we're going to Dallas this weekend.
There you go. And
it's literally like we have places that we like to eat, we have places we like to go, and he can decompress, because before a couple of years ago, you take him out somewhere, he's still like OCDing about work.
That's your wifely duty right there.
And I'm like, we have to put it away. It's fine.
Our marriage. No, you can say like, this is our marriage. You know.
Like, I've
done that.
We're gonna go somewhere now.
I yelled at my wife, and me and my wife haven't slept together in a long time. I used to look, we're married. This is what married people do. We're going to have to make a schedule and time. I know that's not very romantic, but we're married. You know.
But that's life. That's
We have to have these. We have to. Tommy's got to get a babysitter, which we both hate doing.
And he's so much better. He's better about it now. Like he's not. He's so much more relaxed.
That's why marriage works, and that's why marriage is a good thing. And I wouldn't have said that like 20 years ago. People, like one of my ex-girlfriends is probably listening to this and thinking, "Oh my god." But that's
now you fucking say it.
Yeah, I know it's not that bad to be married. It's not the worst thing in the fucking world.
Yeah,
it always terrified me. You know, it's funny. I think back, like it always terrified. Oh my god, I have to sleep with the same woman the rest of my life, right? So and that's going to cause all sorts of problems in itself. The stress of something like that. That's the way I thought. But how many weeks in a row when I was single did I not get laid? So what am I freaking out about? You know, like I would say that when I was single and not like things come in ebbs and flows when you're a single guy. And I'm not getting married because I'll have to sleep with the same woman. Like
Yeah. Well, do they not realize like
guys
the
don't
more
really-
women that more women that you involve yourself with, the more fucking problems you're gonna have. Just look at Mamamax.
Oh well, yeah. I don't think most guys realize that till later.
They don't realize. It's
Yeah,
already
every
too
guy I
late.
know that was like, I was not a natural player, so to speak. I got a little better when I was in the army, and I was the foreign guy, so it was easier to approach. It's
Yeah,
easier.
you were
With the
exotic.
foreign guy, it's true. The foreign guy is so much easier. So I got a little better with women after that, but yeah, it's oh God, what were you saying? I already forgot. I forgot my train of thought. What were you saying? Like, don't you realize? I forgot.
Don't I realize like
You said I totally I lost it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Maybe it's time to go. Maybe it's time to bag it. Too.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
time to pack
that's
it,
probably
so
a
thank
good
you.
sign. The cat's screaming. I gotta go pick Tommy up. I gotta come back.
I
and
know,
study
and I gotta go take my dog out, and then I have to get ready for work. Thank you so much for coming.
no
and
problem.
stopping
I like
by.
this Joe Rogan. I
appreciate
don't
you.
get that. This is the closest thing to Joe Rogan I think I ever had. Or ever
I
will
like doing
Um,
stuff like this.
yeah.
I like doing stuff like this. It's better. It's
All
better
right.
for me. That's what I like.
Well, all the
right.
best. You take care of yourself.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.